Welcome to Just Hair Me Out, a podcast about love, life, and hair. I'm Barbara. I've spent over 38,000 hours coloring hair.
Hi, I'm Demetra, and I've spent over 1,000 weeks with scissors in my hands.
With 50 clients a week in our chairs and 22 years on our feet, doing hair is not our hobby, it's our hustle. We've navigated salon politics and then opened salon suites of our own in 2020. We choose dogs over kids, skinny marks over beer, and we've only fired 3 clients each. Welcome back to Just Hair Me Out. Today we have a really great treat. We have a guest who is one of my favorite clients. Her name is Buddy Bush, and she is somebody who knows a lot about a lot, and she speaks at conferences. She knows everything, as far as I'm concerned. And I wanted to have her on because she and I are going to talk about do-it-yourself, DIY stuff. And Buddy is somebody who comes to me a few times a year to get highlights or balayage, and she colors her hair at home, which is against my religion. Not that I have one.
I know. Okay, so I'm just going to jump in already and interrupt you because that's how this whole time is going to go. No, I promise it won't. But I feel like in the chair, in the studio, when I'm with you, you are super professional. Like you do not say anything negative. You don't write. So in this format today on the podcast, I want you to give it to me straight. Like, I have given you so many opportunities to be like, wow, buddy, I don't know what you did with your roots, but this color is horrendous. And you just won't go there with me. Like, you will never, like, I come in when it's so messed up that I know there is no way around it. And you've never in all of these years been like, yeah, this is a doozy. Like, it's real bad. So let's like be uncensored today. You can tell it to me straight. I can take it.
All right. Unfiltered. But, okay, so I have an entire episode about why you shouldn't do box color at home. But I will say, Buddy is pretty good at it.
Well, that's because it's not box color. So I don't think we've ever talked about my process. But my process is whatever color I see you using, I buy on eBay.
Oh!
So, back in the day when we first met, I think I was a referral from Christina. Was she the original source, or were Renee and Stephanie the original source? I don't know how I found you. I think it was Christina. Yes. Okay. So Christina is a beautiful Peruvian blonde, just glowing color all the time. So she was going to be a good referral source for me. So she referred me to you. And at that time, at that studio, you were probably, at that salon, you were probably using like a professional Redken product, maybe?
Or Goldwell?
Oh, Goldwell. Yeah, that was the original. Goldwell. Yeah. So like, I'll just be super curious. And I'll like look around the corner where you guys are all mixing it up, and I'll be like, oh, okay, the line we're using now is Goldwell. And then I go into eBay and I buy that. So I do think that even though I'm not a DIY, dyslexia, person in general, when it comes to hair, I try to at least find the right product.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I can tell that you don't have like those other chemicals. I was going to ask you what you use because I know it's not your traditional quote unquote box color at the store. Mm-hmm. So kudos to you. I will say I have a couple clients, well actually probably a dozen, who get their hair colored like every 2 weeks. But even if like the money is like no big deal, it's like a lot of time. So I don't give people a hard time when they color every 2 weeks. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot, the gray hair ruins my whole existence.
Yeah.
So I cannot do it. So I have to, I mean, I'll color my hair every 10 days sometimes.
Yeah.
But I will say when I come to you, obviously, because you're a professional, and I think that you are more liberal with the amount of color you'll use, yours always lasts way longer. I mean, I saw you probably almost 4 weeks ago, and I haven't touched it up, and I'm just now starting to see it, whereas mine doesn't seem to last as long, even though I'm using the same thing. I just must be using less.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I can think. Because I'm like, do I really need to use this whole tube? I can use like a third of this tube, and then that's a problem.
Yeah. I remember when I was in beauty school, there was like a lot of, all of a sudden everyone's getting all PC, which is, disorienting when you're not somebody who grew up that way. And everyone was having a hard time with, teachers would say, don't let your hair color be anorexic. And people got really upset about that. But it means you can't, if you put it on too lean, it's not soaking all the way in. Yeah, you need it like soaking, marinating is what I say. You need the hair to marinate in the hair color.
Okay. I'll consider that. But it's still very cheap. So okay.
You're fine.
And, I mean, my source from eBay, it's got to be super illegal. However, I'm getting this color. Like, it's probably thrown away in some dumpster. Or, I mean, it does have this seal on it. So I don't think that it's fake product, which I know we have to be so careful of when we're buying any sort of beauty products on particularly Amazon these days. Or maybe they'll sue your podcast because I just said that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you think it's like a hair salon that's just looking for a little extra, and so on the DL they sell this illegally. Like, it can't possibly be. It's not a sanctioned activity for them to be selling this professional color through
Probably
an
not.
eBay.
I will say it is possible if it's sealed.
You're thinking it might be like expired or like some other.
Yes, it can be expired. I wanted to tell you real quick, buddy. I just put out this video that I spent a while doing. I decided to try my hand at unboxing videos.
Oh,
and
fun.
I made an unboxing video of the new Dyson hairdryer. So it just came out like two and a half weeks ago. And
it is the wand? It's like the upgrade of the wand?
Yes, I think when you say wand, I think you're thinking of the air wrap.
Yes.
So it's like the blow dryer where it has like a hole in the middle of it. It's the same technology as the fans.
Oh, right. So it almost looks like a selfie ring.
Yeah. So this new one is geared toward professionals, and it looks oddly like a vibrator.
Oh, nice.
And when I first saw it, I actually laughed. I was like,
vibrator than I am.
Okay, but everyone says that. They're always like, oh, what is that? Anyway, so I made this awesome unboxing video, and I even did like the Vanna White hands. Here's this part of the blow dryer. And I posted it on my YouTube channel, and then I was like excited to like, oh, let's put it also on TikTok. And here it is right here. This is the new Dyson, and it's pretty cool. It's very efficient.
Like a shower head.
Yeah.
Is it as quiet as the air wrap? Because I do appreciate the quietness of the air wrap.
It is super quiet.
Yeah.
It's like one of the quietest ones and lightest ones I've ever seen. TikTok removed the video and tagged it as violating guidelines for sexual content.
Oh, because you mentioned the word vibrator.
No, I never said the word vibrator.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I think it's like AI or something. But that's what's making me laugh.
The image of it.
Yeah.
The phallic shape of the blow dryer. Well, how is Dyson going to get around that? Because they need their influencers to be doing these unboxings and to be talking about their products. I mean, I think it is. Yeah, so that'll be so interesting.
Do you know, I actually had a friend of mine tell me that I can't remember how she found this out, but people who are selling actual vibrators, if they have them on camera, they put like a smiley face over top of them, or at least part of them. And she's like, you should put a smiley face on it.
That's so interesting. I can't wait to see. Now that we're having this conversation and my phone is always listening, I can't wait to see if the Dyson ads start popping up, and I'm going to see how it's portrayed. Maybe if it's held upside down. That would be actually interesting, is if you held it upside down versus right side up, if it would not get flagged.
Oh, interesting. Anyway, I thought that was hilarious because I thought to myself, you know me, I'm pretty inappropriate, But for this video, I was like, I'm going to be professional. I'm not going to say anything about the shape of it. And it's just ergonomic, okay? And I was going to tag Dyson and everything. So I would never say that stuff. And here I am, flagged, video down. It's my first time being banned. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, seriously. You have to see what else you can get banned for.
You know you've made it. Okay, so let's talk, like in the same vein as the hair color, the beauty DIYs that we have tried, and yay or nay to whether we recommend doing that at home. And one that I wanted to talk to you about, I was wondering, because you have like really good skin. Do you ever do dermaplaning, and do you do it yourself?
I got into a little war on Instagram recently. My first ever back and forth. I rarely comment. And it was this woman had put some sort of powder, some sort of like baby powder on her skin. And then she was taking the single blade razor and she was dermaplaning. So she was getting rid, and because the powder had picked up the hair, it was deeply satisfying to watch the hair slough off with the powder on her face. And I think I wrote something like, "This is deeply satisfying to watch," or something very bland like that. Then all of these crazy haters start chiming in about how she's going to grow pubic style hair all over her face because of the dermaplaning. And since I had commented, I was pinged when other people were commenting. So I couldn't help myself but be like, this is such a myth. This is insane. I have been getting rid of the fuzz on my face for the last long time, 15 years at least, and this is not a thing. Like, I'm not growing coarse black hair on my face. No. And so I chimed in, this is a myth. This does not happen. And people reacted so strongly that I started second guessing myself about whether or not it was some like unconscious bias, that it was my skin type, my coloring, which kept me from getting coarser, darker hair. But then, because I was so curious, I did more research, and I was in fact correct. Dermaplaning is the way to go. There is no reason to have baby hair on your face. So yeah, for sure. I'll use like a full razor, but I always go down. I don't go up. So I don't know if that makes a difference.
No, I think that's, yeah. You have to know how to do it properly. Because I think I need to start doing it. I want to do it.
Oh, it's so fun. But I would say like with my aging skin, it gets really fun because I have to like suck this part of my cheek up to like get underneath. Otherwise you have like you have a little thin line of the hair still there. So you have to play with your flesh of your cheeks to get in at all of those little spots.
Okay, good to know. Noted.
It's a nice exfoliant too, because it's going to get any sort of like patchy, dry skin is going to come off with that razor.
Yes.
I was just talking to a friend who, she was at a derm conference, and she's a dermatologist, so she was just at a conference, I guess we could say. And it was like trend spotting, and dermaplaning was one of them. And they were all for it, as long as you were making sure you were using a clean razor.
Yes. Yeah. You know what else is something that beauty professionals use that would be really good for that actually is they make a spray that disinfects your razor, like for barbers or people that use them constantly, so you can spray in between clients. That would be awesome because it'd be kind of a no-brainer. Because I did read that. You have to be really careful not to be doing it with anything contaminated.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how careful we really have to be, because I dermaplane my face and then I use like a half damp, nasty towel in the bathroom to dry my face after. So clearly nothing terrible has happened. So I think the razor in my world is probably the least of the exposure to nastiness on my face, if I'm being honest with your listeners.
Yeah. Well, and you know, people get all uptight about sterilizing and sanitizing at the salon, but in your own bathroom, it's your own shit. You know what I'm saying? Your own germs.
Totally.
Seems less...
Okay, so dermaplaning is a yes on the DIY DIY. What about what other
Yes.
things have you tried?
I love lashes. I love
I
to
see your
put
beautiful
lashes
lashes.
on. Thank you. And these are magnetic. So you get
I've been curious.
the magnetic eyeliner that comes with them, and you stick them on. And so far, I've gone outside a bit, and they have stayed on. I do want to have a test run where I go really fast. Okay, somebody else drive. I put my head out the window like a dog, because I have no shame, and see if they stay on.
Yeah, because you think wind is the biggest obstacle. It's
I'm
not
thinking
water.
that. I'm thinking wind.
So
Well, you're right.
I've seen the magnetic ones where it's two different lash lines and you use this little, it looks almost like an eyelash curler. So one goes on one side, one goes on the other, and then they have magnets that connect to each other. So you're not even using the magnetic eyeliner, but the two different halves smashed together. Did you try those yet?
I haven't. Those are like little sandwiches. I should probably
Yes.
try those next.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm a big fan of lashes, and personally I don't want to have somebody else do it, because if I were to get like the really fancy like single strand lash extensions, I just move a lot when I sleep, and no matter what is on my face or my lashes, it will look like a dead bird on the side of the road when I wake up in the morning. It's true.
I also think that you want to be able to be lashless. You
Yeah.
know, now with the magnetic ones, like you can have a clean face and you don't have to be going to the store at 7:30 in the morning looking like you could have also be going to the club. Like, I think sometimes you want to be on and off. That's why I don't like the permanent ones.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very good point. If you go to the grocery store at 7 a.m., they probably think you're on your way home from a trick.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, big ol' hooker. Okay, well, here's a big topic. Let's talk waxing.
Yeah. So I have tried it on my own one time. Most of my adventures are because of convenience, but during this point in my life, it was because of cost. And I was in my early 20s, and I just couldn't stomach the cost of the bikini wax. Because even then, it was still, I believe, like $35. So that's like plus tip, that's almost $50. That was a lot. That was a lot. So I went to, it wasn't a Sally's, but it was like that. It was a beauty store. And I bought this product that could go into the microwave. So it was a little tub. And you put it in the microwave, and it came with wooden spatula sticks. And then whatever it is, that fabric-y tape that you put on before you rip it off. It was such a disaster. It was such a disaster.
No.
I took a lot of skin, only did half, and it was a very memorable experience because I wanted my boyfriend at the time to do the other half, and he took one look at the half I did, and he was like, I'm out. No chance.
Scaring boyfriends everywhere.
God, you just should not be putting wax into a microwave.
I know. And those waxing strips, like, you know, once you put them on top of the wax, there's no way around it. There's no amount of baby oil that is going to get that off.
Yeah, you can't go back.
Committed. I'm going to say waxing at home is maybe not a great idea. I suppose your legs, maybe.
Do people still wax their legs? Is that a
I
thing?
think a lot of people do the laser hair removal.
For sure.
You know what I got recently that I haven't used yet? It's like it's like using light as a laser treatment. It's an at-home, so it's weaker than if you were to go to a professional, but you can allegedly permanently remove your leg hair that way.
Wait, is that the nude thing, NOOD, that's following me on social media? It's like a hand chocolate wrapper, and they do the really adorable commercials where they're using a peach to represent like your butt, and then they're using it. Yes. Oh, okay, you got it. So you're gonna try it and let me know.
Yeah. I will get back to you on that one, but I think that's much safer than waxing. Hot wax, like, okay, Also, I've seen people wax things the wrong way too. And I've seen a woman with a full-on mustache come to a waxing place. They waxed it off. All the hair is gone, but what's left is bright red. And so, like, that usually means you took a layer of skin off. But then, I mean, I'd almost rather have a mustache than a bright red. It's just like signifying that you just did something there. Yeah, not good. Do you ever cut your own hair?
You think so right now. Hopefully Michelle, who cuts my hair, is not listening.
Oh.
Just kidding, Michelle, it grows out. So I'm just as horrid to her as I am to you. I see her maybe once every 8 months. I do not cut it in between. I just let it grow in its nasty stringiness, and then I hit a limit. So I've not cut my own hair. I have tried to cut my dog's hair exactly one time. The dog grooming is so expensive. It's so frustrating to spend $120 to get your dog groomed. It is 100% worth it. I mean, when I groomed her, it looked like she was on chemotherapy. Like, it was so bad. She looked so, and she didn't come out of the bathroom for like 24 hours. I mean, she was deeply embarrassed by what had happened to her for years. I mean, it was tragic. Tragic. It was awful.
Oh.
And
she
also,
knew.
when you get groomed, they also cut the nails, which I'm not cutting my dog's nails because that's a whole nother thing that would be so worrisome if you're going to get close and they're going to bleed. So they're doing other things.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of things in life where you try it once and then you're like, oh, this is why I'm okay with paying somebody, because it's really hard.
The deep appreciation for the fact that you don't need to be the one to do that. I think about people who have to express their dog's anal glands. Like, luckily my dog does not require that service, but I would not be doing it myself. I would not be putting on a glove, but people do. People do it all the time. They're just like, you just put on a glove. Hard stop.
Oh, yeah. I feel like it would be awkward to, like, look them in the eye after that. You know.
Do you ever cut your own hair?
I don't. I really don't. And I probably could or should, because I have it long and pretty much one length, but no. And I do know one person who cuts their own hair who does a good job. And her hair is like really wild though. Super wild. And it's meant to look like very disheveled.
You mean like, it's like curly, like a natural tight curl kind of wild?
Yeah, like a really specific thick texture, and she wears it quite short. It's kind of hard to explain. I mean, I'm just saying there are outliers occasionally, but even hairdressers, like the best ones, will not cut their own hair because you can't get the right angles. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
I will not do, or I have not yet, stay tuned, do any sort of lightening on my own hair. So I only do the roots for the gray. I'm not trying to balayage myself. However, I balayage my daughter's hair all the time. And I've shown you pictures. Like, I can paint on the bleach. I can do it. And so far her hair has not turned to cotton. So I think we're doing good. But again, on my own hair, I feel like that would be a giant risk.
It would, yeah. It's that is a very good caveat, because lightening your own hair or doing it at home, especially if you don't have any experience with it, is very risky. There's very few scenarios that I think turn out well. And then you end up paying extra to have it fixed.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the salon I went to in California that did only color correction? And their adorable little t-shirts said, "Quit your bitchin', you did it in the kitchen." And it was awesome. It was only color repair. And most of the time in that market, they were repairing other colorists' work. But I just thought that the t-shirts were so memorable that's what they said.
That's really cute. I like that.
I mean, you can market yourself as color repair because you can charge a fortune for color repair because there's a shame component, right? Which is like, it's bad. It's really bad. It's so brassy. It's so green. It's horrible. And it's going to take me 4 times through.
Yes. Okay. How about, this is like a really sensitive one, skin tags. Do you take those off of yourself or other people?
What are the options here? There's like that little brown jar of, is that silic acid? I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, it's like a strong acid that like burns it off.
You can like paint your skin and then suddenly magically it's going to fall off.
I think so, but you have to be careful not to burn like a chemical burn.
Well, yeah, because the problem is like that little brush. So I've had like a little skin tag, and the brush is not precise enough, so you're getting whatever that acid is like around in your normal skin.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then I've heard people talk about like rubber bands, which I do not. I mean, that must be a gigantic skin tag. I mean,
or really small.
I mean, even if I imagine the smallest rubber band I can imagine, I'm still thinking that is a huge skin tag.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on skin tags?
You know those kitchen shears that are meant for like cutting raw meat?
Okay, you're worrying me.
I have used those to cut off a skin tag.
Wait, raw meat, skin tag, raw meat, same.
Close.
Did it bleed? How much did it bleed?
I actually cut them off my dad. No.
Oh!
Okay. Well, there's just some things. Well, okay, we're talking about DIY here. There are some scenarios where you're like, I'm not making a 700th doctor appointment to take this off. Here.
Yes.
It also helps if you have a little wine on board.
Yes, but does your dad drink? Or are you just saying for the person who's handling the shears, they should have the wine on board?
The person handling the shears.
Yes.
Like, you just can't think about it too much. Because I'm not a surgeon, you know?
Yet. Where was the skin tag on your father?
Like neck area. Neck and shoulder area. Yeah.
And describe the size.
Well, okay. I would only attempt this if a skin tag, like, if you can pull on it and it's smaller in the middle where it attaches. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, totally. That makes sense. But are we talking like the size of a sunflower seed? Or are we talking about the size of like, I don't know. I'm
trying to think about small things.
Flaxseed? I'm only in seeds. I'm sticking with seeds. Hemp seed, chia seed.
Okay, chia's too small.
Okay.
I want to say, a sunflower seed.
Okay, so those can be, maybe a little bit smaller than that. So you pulled it and then you just snipped it.
Yeah.
And then
it's wild. It's just like, whoosh, you just do it real quick and the remaining skin just like falls down into place. I did like 3 of them. I think one of them bled a little bit, but I was just like, stick a bandage on that bad boy.
The others didn't even bleed.
No, because if you like that one, I might have cut a little low on, because there isn't like, I don't think there's blood in them. Yeah.
Well, it must be like a little bit. But I'm curious, so I'm thinking that you had nail scissors available to you. You're a hair person, so you have to have had some other, I know you only color, but you could have used nail clippers. Like the hugeness of the kitchen shears is what I'm wondering about.
Okay, well, let me explain myself. In my mind, it is firmly ingrained. I think this is in another episode. Hair cutters say it's like so personal. You do not touch someone else's shears. Shears they get dulled by use, or if you use hair cutting shears on paper, you're messing up the shears.
Okay, I can believe that.
I think to myself, like, I know that the kitchen shears can handle it. If I tried to use fingernail clippers or cuticle nips, or if I tried and it didn't come off all the way, I would freak out.
Okay, the dangling was worrisome. Yeah,
it's
there's
like it's one of those things, like, you think, oh yeah, no big deal. And then when you're standing there about to do it, you're like, what is this? But I'm telling you, it worked well.
Okay. I appreciate your effort.
Now, do you do your own nails?
No, I have the worst nails. I don't do my toenail. I mean, I get pedicures. I rarely have anything on my fingers. I have a terrible, horrible attention to detail. Like, it is horrific, which is why I can't in my house ever do any painting, because I just don't care enough. Like, I get bored very easily, and I'm like, oh, it's good enough, and then I will notice that spot or that stroke till the end of time, where I should have been more precise. So fingers and toes falls in that. I'm just not going to take the time to do it right, so I need to outsource it.
Yeah. There's no shame in that. I do like doing my own. But when it comes to, I also wrote down in my brainstorming here that I think it is a huge mistake to try to take off no chip or acrylics on your own, because you will mess your stuff up.
Yeah,
or hair extensions.
My daughter currently she's negotiated some 8th grade graduation dip with tip nails. And I'm finding them every couple of days. I'll find another one that she's picked off, and it's just destroying her nail bed. And I've said a million times, like, we should go in, get these ground off. And she's like, no, it's fine, it's fine. And they're just now, it's like an Easter egg hunt. I'm just finding little nail tips.
Oh, geez. Oh, that reminds me of puppies. When they go to teething, you can find little teeth around on the floor. It's creepy. One really good tip I have for people for a DIY deep conditioning treatment. So this is something that is so good for your hair, and it does take a little time, but I think it's so worth it. If you have like a really good, strong, deep conditioner, they're usually really thick. This is my hack. If you put it in a bowl with white vinegar and like stir it up loosely, like with a spatula or something, and then you have to shampoo your hair, you have to get out of the bath or shower or whatever you're doing and towel dry it really well so that it's like raw like a sponge. Put that stuff in there, and if you wrap it around your head, the heat from your head will really boost the process. But the vinegar smell goes away. It for sure does when your hair's dry, and it looks so good and shiny.
That's awesome. I don't know if I saw you during this time, but I did the CO2 resurfacing of my face a couple years ago. And it's horrifying. It was such an unbelievable 4 days. I looked unrecognizable because I had so much swelling. But in that healing process, what they recommend is that you take white vinegar and water and you use it on your face with as a compress to try to start simmering down that inflammation of the skin. And I loved it so much that it's still part of my routine every single morning. I wake up and I'm making tea, I brew the tea, and then I have this metal bowl. Like, everybody has the bowl in their house that's like for popcorn and for vomit. Like, I don't know why we use the same bowl for the popcorn and the vomit, that metal bowl, but I also use it in the morning for my vinegar wash. And I do white vinegar and water, and then I just do it all over my face, and I smell like a 3-bean salad, but it makes my skin tight for like 2 hours after. I'm obsessed with it. What else do you use vinegar for?
I will tell you, my dad taught me this a long time ago. He went to nursing school, and if you have a burn, sometimes even like a cut, like a bad paper cut, if it's always stinging, definitely a burn. If you have like a blister, if you soak it in white vinegar for, I don't know, like 20 minutes, and then it will not hurt the whole rest of the time it is healing.
Well, that must have been why they were having me do it for my face, because laser is burning your face.
It takes the pain away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I like vinegar for any sort of cleaning.
Yes.
Except for, I believe in really toxic chemicals in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a fan of bleach. I know it's wrong, and every time I I think about the environment, and I still do it.
That's okay. I think, bathroom, come on. Yeah. That's, You don't need to put that necessarily in the kitchen, but in the bathroom, yes.
So speaking of bathroom and DIY, I am a fan of recaulking my tub independently. I am not going to hire a plumber or a painter to come dig out the nastiness, dry it, and then reseal it. That to me is like insane to outsource. So I'm sure that there are YouTube tutorials that would help me do a much better job on it, but I don't have that attention to detail. So I just take a good old butter knife and I just dig in there and I chisel out that nastiness. And it provides deep satisfaction to reapply with the caulking gun.
You know what's interesting is I've done that before, and I learned something really great from a video saying to fill the tub at least halfway with water before you reseal.
Because you get a lot of movement.
Yeah, so that when you put it in, and you would, refill the caulk with fresh, and then let it sit like that for a while, so that like whatever small movement is in there, like it'll dry with the water in the tub, so that the weight of people in there won't stretch it.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah. There's a lot of bathroom DIY stuff. I'm a big fan of, like, if you get a leaky toilet, or like, like you can hear that it's constantly running, to replace the ball cock. Oh.
Is that the thing that's on the chain?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the seal that, like in the tank part, where there's a seal, and it's usually, it's connected by a chain.
Yes.
Yeah. And the flap can lose like its seal ability, and that has to be replaced, and potentially the little chain going onto the flotation device that looks like a, when you're trying to save someone's life with the oxygen.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, but yeah, I am so pleased when I can do something with plumbing, but there is a point where it is over your head and you don't go there.
Yeah, speaking of over your head, like not even a year ago, I decided that I could not live one more second with the light fixture that was hanging in my dining room. Like all of a sudden, I must have been procrastinating from something far more important, because all of a sudden my top priority was like, this fixture has to go. And when you get into that mode, you don't have time to get an electrician. And I don't own a ladder. I own a ladder now because I told my dad what I did, and shortly after, a ladder appeared on my doorstep. But I put a chair on top of a table, and I turned off the electricity in the house. I just killed it all. And I did the electrical, and it was a little scary because I live in a very old house, and the electrical was still the cloth covered. There was still like the cloth covered wires, so it was not a very clean look at what should go where. So it was a little dicey, but it worked great. And
wow.
Shane was horrified when he got home because he's like, "You did what? Like, your life insurance does not cover electrocution." I think that was his direct quote. He went immediately to the life insurance if he would still get it.
Oh, well, attention to detail on contracts. That's good.
Would you do small electrical? Would you like install a ceiling fan?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because my first apartment that I lived in was, third. It was a very, very small studio apartment. And I was determined to change this light bulb. And I think it was from like the mid 1800s.
Oh.
And I was having trouble because like it was just like old stuff. I was trying to change a light bulb. And I could see where there was an issue, and I got a pair of like little pliers, and I totally like zapped myself. So no, I like to get an electrician with like a list of all the things. So I like to, have a list of repairs for them rather than one light.
So they're going to do like in one sweep a bunch of things.
Yeah.
I wish that there was a way to more actively support women in the trades. I would pay 10, 15, 20% more to be able to hire a woman plumber, to be able to hire a woman electrician. I feel like that is such an unnecessarily gendered occupations. I mean, honestly, when you see some of the people who come to get it, both of these electrical work and plumbing require very small spaces. I feel like women would do a much better job. Like, I've seen some people try to crawl underneath my kitchen sink, and it's not looking pretty. Like, I'm seeing a tremendous amount of flesh. Women would have been able to just, like, scoot on in there. Just scoot on in, put in a new garbage disposal, no problem.
Absolutely. Back to the bathroom. I gotta say, I actually really enjoy, because I'm an OCD type person, doing tile work. I would totally tile my own backsplash. I would never do my own shower. Because there's more at stake.
Because of the risk with the water, just because water just deteriorates everything so quickly.
Yes, because it would even be difficult to know if it wasn't watertight until there's a huge problem. You know?
And you can't see it. I mean, you
Right.
find out about the water. Water always wins. Like, water is going to find its way. So I'm with you. I think that is a gigantic risk.
Yeah. But when it comes to backsplash, it's mostly aesthetic. You gotta,
So do you have, like, you would get a wet saw and do all the work, like, even if you have to cut the tile on the angles and whatever that entails?
So I hired someone to do a backsplash for me because I was doing glass, like subway tile glass. I have done it myself, but not with anything that would require a wet saw, because I don't want to go down that route. I'm afraid I might miss a finger at some point, and I need them all.
Well, also, you get to the point, I don't know how much those cost, but you're like, okay, I did it myself, and it ended up costing me more than if I would have had someone else do it. Like, we can't be having the do-it-yourself more expensive than the professional doing it. It has to be, in my mind, substantially cheaper.
Yeah.
Substantially more convenient.
Yes. I've done, cleaning the hair out of drains. I don't have a hard time with that. I'd like to.
There's no way. You have so much exposure to hair. There's no chance you would have, like, a gag reflex with that. But what about when it's not just the hair, but when it's like it's already turned into, like, that mucusy glob, like those big clots that you clear out of the drain? It's no longer just hair. Like, it's how would you describe that consistency?
Gelatinous.
Definitely.
And it looks kind of like
Cat vomit.
Oh, there you go. Cat vomit.
Because I guess it's the same thing, because it's a hairball. Okay,
yeah,
that's not that. It's the same. So
yeah.
I have a friend who does not do their own drains. Refuses. So the wife, who will remain nameless, is worthless. So she's definitely not doing anything. Like, she would never do anything for herself. I don't even think she's ever put gas in her own car. So she's definitely off the table. The husband does very, very little when it comes to anything home related. Hires someone monthly to come in and clean all the drains in the kids' bathrooms and their bathrooms. And to me, that is just insanity. Like, that you can't take the little orange plastic thing with the teeth and shove it down in the drain and rip it back up and feel the splash as it hits your face. Like, that's a human experience that we should all have. The first few times I did it, though, like, because obviously when you're renting and you're young, you don't know you need to do that. So hopefully you move out in time before it's a problem. But once I had stayed long enough that, like, things were slow draining, and I did it the first time, it should say in bold letters on that packaging, close your mouth when using this product. Like, that should be a very big PSA, because my mouth is always open, and I got some of that in my mouth, and never again. Like, now I'm doing the thing when I do it where I, like, bite my lips because I'm so paranoid that it's going to go in my mouth again with the splatter.
Yeah, we need, like, splash guards, like surgeons wear.
Oh, solid. It's a great idea. Like the little visor that comes down.
Yes.
Talk to me about your process with this, because I think I need some process improvement. So I'll tell you what I do, and I'll tell you why it doesn't work that well. So let's just take my bathtub. So we have 4 humans using one bathroom, and it's a lot of hair. So if I go in, I take the orange thing with the teeth, and I put it in and I jam it in and I kind of like wiggle it around, and then I pull it up with my mouth shut, and it comes with the like clumpy stuff. But then what? So sometimes I'll take toilet paper and I'll like pick those clumps off with the toilet paper and then flush the toilet paper. Or sometimes those like clumps come down and they're in the bottom of the bathtub, and then they get washed back into the drain. So that seems like not the best thing to do. What do you do? What's your process?
So you need an old shopping bag and paper towels. And you put paper towels in there so that you can fling the gelatinous mess onto the and gloves, disposable gloves.
Wow, okay.
Also, did you know that a lot of the drains, as long as they're like modern, 80s, 90s until now, the drain in the sink or the tub, it's like, that stopper thing. If you pull it up to the highest point, there is one little spot where you can undo a screw and then pull that off so you can get access to the whole thing. Does that make sense?
Oh, you're saying to take the round metal disc off.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine just unscrews, so I have access to the whole thing.
Oh,
like
good,
it
okay.
just twists off and then it pops back in. So that's
I also like needle nose pliers, because if you can look in there and see, like put your cell phone flashlight on there, if you can see the hairballs, if you grab like with that long skinny pliers and just yank it out, that works too.
Yeah, this is again your precision that I do not have. What about things lost in drains? Christina, who referred me to you, you'll have to ask her the next time she's in your chair to tell you she lost a diamond earring, I think, in a drain of her bathroom. And I'm remembering a very funny story of them like deconstructing all of the plumbing to get that earring. But she'll have to remind you. Have you lost anything good down a drain?
No, but I have taken apart the what do you call them?
The snake, whatever. The plastic part.
I have disassembled that because someone puked in my bathroom sink instead of the toilet.
How does that happen? How do you accidentally go to the wrong place?
I don't know. I think there was a lot of alcohol involved. Anyhow.
But still. Okay.
I know. It's a thing.
Did they own it?
Oh,
Were
yeah.
they like, I puked in your sink.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not going down.
Yeah. So, first I called her husband to come get her.
Oh,
Sorry, friend. I love you. And then the next, I was like, I can't even deal with this right now. In the morning, I was like, there is no way that I'm paying someone couple $100 to come to my house because somebody puked. Like, come on. So I got a bowl that I had to later throw out, and I disassembled under the sink. And the only way I knew how to do that was watching like 4 YouTube videos. But it worked. And like, so everything that, wasn't going through, I was able to get out. It was, I really don't ever have a gag reflex, really. Or like, looking at other people throw up, for example, it doesn't make me want to throw up. This, I was very close.
Well, you were also, I'm assuming she was not drinking alone. So you were doing this hungover.
Yeah.
Which is even worse.
Yes.
Oof. And what had you fed her?
It was, we had gone across the street to a place, it was a bar, and they did the brick oven pizzas and martinis, holiday martinis.
Oh, man. Pizza, holiday, martini, vomit in the sink.
Yeah.
Maybe she was peeing at the same time and then leaned over and puked. I'm back to, like, how you decide to puke in a sink instead of a toilet.
I really, really was, and still am, curious about it. She did explain herself to me later, saying that her mom used to always have them puke in the sink when they were little.
That makes no sense.
So I assume they hadn't eaten anything, maybe? Or I was wondering if it was like always a kitchen sink and it had a garbage disposal.
Okay.
Not that I would want, I mean, I feel like then you have to clean your garbage disposal. Anyway, I digress. But some of those things where you like, you know exactly what's wrong. It's not like something deteriorated. You know something went down the drain. Mm-hmm. Now you can't drain. And YouTube is very helpful. But know your limits. I'm somebody who really likes the idea of being able to snake a toilet drain, you know? But I would, if that doesn't solve a problem, I'm calling the plumber. Because anything over that, no.
You know what's frustrating about appliances today is that they're not designed to last more than 10 years. 10 years max.
Yes.
And if you call someone, we just had an issue with our dishwasher. So we called someone, you have to pay the fee to get the person there. So whatever that is, $250 or something crazy. And then they diagnose it. And most of the time, I would imagine the diagnostic is that it's going to cost about the same to fix it as to get a new one, but you've already used X number of years of available life. So deciding when to fix something versus when to buy something new is extremely frustrating.
Yes.
And then you feel bad because, you know, from the service person's perspective, they should get compensated for coming in to figure out what was broken. They have to be able to earn their money. So I understand why it's the way that it is. It's just extremely frustrating that we don't want to fix anything. We just want to buy something new because it just doesn't make sense to have it fixed.
Yeah. I'm in that situation right now with a lawnmower. I have lived in so many places. This is the first time I need a lawnmower. This is the first time I have a lawn. And so I'm 3 years into being responsible for my own grass. And I don't mean a dispensary. And I just looked this up. So I call it power steering. I'm pretty sure that's the wrong word. The self-propelling part is not working. And I'm so upset. And I've been good to it.
Is it the one that's electric where you can recharge the battery?
No, it's gas.
Okay.
And that's my thought though. Like, I feel a little bit silly, but do I just like put it on the curb? Like, hey, if anyone wants to fix this, and then I buy a new one. But apparently, according to the interwebs, that's for my husband to laugh. The interweb says you're supposed to have it serviced like a car, like change belts and change the oil.
I mean, I don't even get my car serviced, so I'm out on that too.
You know, it's the pure reason why I lease cars, because I don't want to have to deal with any of that. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
well, I think you could get the electric. The electric lawnmowers are awesome, and they don't smell. And ours has lasted. I mean, we've had it now for 3 or 4 years, and the battery just like pops into a little charging station, and they're cute. You could also get that robot one now that everybody's having. Have you seen those in Highland Park next to where your salon is? The city of Highland Park must have bought like 1 million of them because I see them roaming there all the time, and they just do their work, and they dock like a whatever that robot vacuum is
the
called.
Roomba, like a Roomba.
Yeah, it's a Roomba, only it's a lawnmower
for grass.
That's
amazing.
Yeah,
wow.
Check it out.
All right, I am. Okay, back to the appliances. Samsung. Okay, I feel like Samsung is allegedly a great brand. They make the crappiest refrigerators. So this is a public service announcement here. The French door Samsungs, because I did a deep dive on this. I had moved into a place and the Samsung refrigerator was like a year or two old, and it was beautiful. It had the separate drink drawer, the freezer on the bottom, and the French doors. The interesting thing is the 2 French drawers are like, it's all refrigerator, there's no freezer, but then there's an ice maker, the ice and the water that come out the one side of the French door. They are not lasting anybody more than like a few years, and they cost like $5,000. It is like the biggest racket.
We paid extra to make sure we had no water ice feature in our refrigerator because across all brands, that's what breaks.
Yes. And it's a huge problem. Also, I wanted to say this. I put this down for me to make sure I don't forget. I also have Samsung washer and dryers. I have in a couple different places I've lived, and they're generally like really cool looking. I don't have horrible things to say about them. I'm very upset about that refrigerator. It will not go away. But the washing machine one day like wouldn't turn on, and I was like mortified. I was like, how is this? I mean, it's not even that old. It wouldn't even power on. I unplugged it. I tried this. I tried that. I go online. I do a deep dive. I end up on Reddit, which
is super helpful for all things. I'm free Reddit, so don't even mess with me. I mean, I will defend Reddit till the end of days.
So Reddit is kind of the best thing ever, as long as you're not like into a conspiracy. So there's this guide. Who knew about a guide? Okay, so if your Samsung washing machine won't turn on, what you do is you hold the start button and the select button at the same time for 3 seconds, and then you hit it with your hip, and then you unplug it, and then you do a cartwheel, and you plug it back in, and then it turns on. It like resets the computer. Anyway, this is a whole new world. I almost threw it out. I was so frustrated until I fixed it.
That's awesome. What about, do you clean not the lint thing, the obvious thing that you know you have to clean, but did you know that most house fires, I don't have some statistic, I can make one up and then we can see if anybody's listening and they can fact check me. 87% of house fires are caused by, I'm just joking, but it is a huge number. It's the from the back of the dryer to where it vents to your house. Every year, apparently, you're supposed to clear that. You do that? Do you do that? I've done that zero.
No, but I've thought about doing it like every 5 years. I feel like it's more of a problem if you don't clean out the regular filter. You know what I mean? The one that's obvious. Because if it gets too full, it's like shoving more lint down in there. I did get a brush that is really cool. It's meant to do that exact thing. So you take the filter out of your dryer, and then it's like, it looks like a very long toilet brush, and you push it all the way down in, and it pulls up. I do that sort of stuff.
So I bought that same thing, and then I tried it, but it didn't bring a whole lot. But I feel like I'm not getting to that part where it's venting out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I have a friend who had the lint in her bathroom fan just caught fire. I haven't even heard this story directly from her yet, and I can't wait. But I heard it third hand, and her kids, she has like roughly 1 million children, and the kids were already asleep. And so when the fire department came to put out the fire, she did not want to move the kids out of their beds. She was like, they're fine, they're sleeping, just put out the fire. And apparently that was the first time they had heard that. Like, don't worry, like, keep the kids sleeping. Just deal with the fire.
Hey, she knows what she needs. Listen to that woman. Another thing for home-related DIY, they make really, really good spray paint now that is metallic.
So what are you using that on?
So what's awesome is you can do stuff like if you have a planter and you don't like the color of it, or it's or it's plastic, but it's very sturdy, you can use these finishes and make it look super fancy. Also, you could get hardware in your home, like doorknobs or kitchen holes and knobs, and spray paint those to be a different color or metal. It's actually kind of fun. I also heard of people doing it with the blades on their ceiling fans. Change the look up. Okay. And I'm somebody who likes to paint, but I won't paint if it's a 2-story area.
Because if you'd have to get on a really tall ladder, you're out.
Yeah. I wave the white flag. I will not get on my own roof. That sort of thing.
So when you paint, do you tape, or you have such good brush movement? For anyone who has not had you do their hair, who listens to this podcast, I want to submit you to some sort of competition. I feel like you are the fastest foiler in the land. And for someone like me who's very impatient, it's a huge selling point, because if I go to somebody else, where I've had to, in times of need, go to someone else, not very frequently. But like, I remember the last time a couple years ago, I had to go to someone else because, I don't know, I couldn't get in with you and I needed it done immediately, of course. And I was there for like 3 hours. I thought I was going to die. Like, it was the longest. I wanted to start foiling myself alongside her. Like, you are very fast with the brush.
Yes,
so
I am.
I bet you don't even tape. Because you're probably just, see, exactly. That's crazy.
Also, at one point, I tried taping, and it's not even foolproof. Like, you can put it on there and press it down. If you go right in the edge and, like, with a nice, thorough, full brush of paint, it'll, like, seep through. Anyway.
So the game I do like to play, in summary, with all of this do-it-yourselfness, is I play a little shell game with the money. So I'm like, okay, if I would have hired someone to come do this and I did it on my own, that's like an available amount of money that I didn't spend that I can now spend on something else. And this is some really bad thinking. And it has gotten me into trouble because I'm like, wow, that would have been like $1,000. So I guess I should buy those plane tickets because I just did that myself and I saved $1,000. And then I ended up spending on something like completely frivolous.
Yes. I've been there too. I'm like, oh, I can buy these heels even though I have 7 that look just like them because I mowed the lawn myself 7 times.
Are you a shoe person?
I love shoes.
Out in the wild. Okay. I mean, at work, you have to go comfort.
Yes. I love shoes. Shoes make the outfit. I would be the one who's wearing like a $10 shirt and, $1,000 shoes. I'm that type of person.
I'm the person who wants my shoes, like the shoes that should be thrown out. I'll get like a rag, or if I'm traveling for work, I'll use like a hotel washcloth and I'll try to like salvage the shoe. You would be horrified. I've used like permanent markers to like wipe out scuffs where you can definitely see that the marker is a different color, but maybe you're far enough away. How about the trend of people who are using the open-toed? Have you seen this? This is so funny. It's somebody's foot does not fit in the shoe. So they have their pinky toe on the outside of the strap, and then they use nail polish or paint to continue the strap by painting their toe so that you cannot tell that it's on the outside of the strap. Have you seen this yet?
I have not seen that. That sounds horrible.
It's
horrible.
So bad. It's so bad, and I am here for it. I think it's hilarious.
That is so funny. Oh, my gosh. Okay, that brings me to another thing. Why don't designers, like when we're talking designer shoes, why don't they make them for wider feet? Because they're losing out on a whole section of people when, I'm sorry, every woman's foot doesn't necessarily look like a child's foot.
Totally.
Just saying. I have man feet.
Not inclusive at all. And it's a misopportunity. I totally agree. And there's nothing worse than when you see someone's foot smashed into a shoe that it does not belong in. Like, it's just everybody's in that situation. You know that they're in pain, and it's painful to look at. It's a real problem.
So I was walking around Paris on my own once. I went into the Christian Louboutin store on the Champs-Élysées. The guy looked at my feet, and I was, obviously I don't have little feet, and I was wearing Birkenstocks. He, didn't even talk to me. He was like...
Just a classic, French response. Just the stereotypical French response, not you.
He, came toward me. He's like, hey, and then he, just turned around, right back out. And bless his heart, I was like, well, he was kind of snooty, but I went and I was like, you know what? I really want to try a pair of these on. And part of me was like, I just want to buy them here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay. Flips his hair. He goes in the back. I can hardly get my big toe into the shoe. And I was like, okay, that's why he ignored me. I'm like, okay, bye now. He's probably like this. Look at this American wearing Birkenstocks. She probably drives a Subaru.
So I feel like the new Birkenstocks are having a moment.
Yeah.
Have you noticed?
I have.
They're having a moment with that single thick strap that has the gold circle buckle. Have you seen that? They have like the pastel pink and like a beigey suede, but I'm seeing it everywhere. It's on all the women who are wearing the white jeans, and I have a problem with white jeans.
Oh. For yourself or for everybody?
For everyone.
Okay. Fair. I'm not a big fan.
Why do you think you're so good that you can wear a pair of pants that you are not going to be able to sit down in anything or ever eat any food? Like, do they really keep those jeans white, or are they like just semi-disposable? Like they just, wear them once and then they buy a new pair in rotation? I don't understand white. I guess I don't understand white pants. Maybe I'm just messy and dirty.
Well, I think maybe it's trying to pull the wool over your eyes, like people that wear white jeans only drink white wine.
Oh, okay. So they make behavioral changes to support their outfit.
Exactly. Or like, vodka sodas. You can't have like red wine, you can't have coffee, clear liquids.
You go to dinner with the other women in your group that are all in the same outfit, and what white food do you order on the menu? You're not going to order the French fries, so
you gotta ask for an extra napkin because you need like to cover your entire lap. You need like a.
I see. You poncho it up. You create a little skirt of napkins.
Stick that bad boy in your belt and drape it down your legs.
I don't know that I ever had a traumatic experience with light colored pants, but I did spend a fair bit of my youth being worried about bleeding through pants. Even though I didn't even have like a heavy flow, but it was always a concern of mine, like checking. So I'm wondering, is it just in the like menopausal women that were like carefree in these white pants?
It's kind of like a big FU to the younger ladies, like, I'm in menopause.
But the kids these days, they don't care. So the teenage girls these days, like, they don't care. They'll bleed through their pants at school. I know this from a school nurse. They'll bleed through their pants at school, and they won't even go home, and they won't change their pants.
Really?
They'll be like, I have my period. Like, it's just a thing. Like, it's like, yeah, it's blood. You're like, well, that blood is on the chair. Nah, it's fine. People just know I had my period.
Oh, wow.
It's different.
Well, it's kind of good to not be feeling shameful. I feel like a lot of us were shamed. But, there's a line. How about some balance here?
Well, hygiene.
Yeah.
There's basic hygiene. I mean, if your finger was bleeding, I would be like, hey, time to get a Band-Aid. Like, don't smear that all over your desk.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a million reasons why I'm not a teacher, and this is very low on the list.
Yes, I agree.
So what about for you when it comes to summer fashion? I shared mine with the white jeans. What is your top pet peeve for summer fashion?
I would say the little booty shorts that go up your crack and show half of your cheek.
The full cheek is exposed?
Yeah. I just feel like that's unnecessary. Like, just wear... Or you that at the beach, using that as a beach cover-up, and you have a good body, okay. But, like, going to the supermarket, I'm like, why are your bare cheeks on my chair? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they're usually underage, and you're like, okay, I think every old man here just saw everything they shouldn't.
Yeah, I only think about the bare cheeks when I'm in, like an Uber with leather seats, because I've gotten into Ubers after people have gotten out who have been in cheek exposed clothing, and you can see the indentation of their like sweaty butt cheeks. Like you get like the full scoop out.
Ew.
On the seat.
That is nasty.
I don't mind the short shorts. What about for men? Things men do in the summer. I mean, do you think that men should be getting a pedicure? Like once annual, like a colonoscopy, you should also be, maybe they could do it while they're getting their colonoscopy. They could also be getting a pedi just to get rid of like the 6 pounds of dead skin.
Yes. Yes, and yes. Because there's nothing worse than a guy wearing shoes that are showing his toes and not only is it dead skin, I don't know how it happens, but the sock lint gets into the toe area underneath the toes. And that's a problem. It needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can keep the hair there. That's fine. You can have hairy male feet. But it's just like, oh, and you don't have to have pedicures all the time. Just one time in May, clean it up.
Yes, agreed. I'm also somebody who, like, I'm not the best. I'm not a pro at manicures. So I love to go like once in a while. And then once somebody shapes my nails nicely, I can keep them up for a while.
The maintenance. Well, see, then this is back to where we started, which is my hair, which is like I'm running just root maintenance, and then you're doing the main lifting.
Yes, MANE.
Oh, yes, a pun. That's perfect. Fantastic.
Now, real quick, can we talk about like what we would like to do DIY in the future to try?
So I have a little project that I'm going to have to do today, which actually, if there was someone to hire to do it, I would hire that person. But when we bought this old house, I had two choices financially. One was I could spend some money on redoing the kitchen, redoing the bathroom, or I could spend the money to put in space pack for air conditioning. And they were pretty much like, I mean, it's just extremely expensive to retrofit an old brick house with space pack or any sort of central air, which means I chose the kitchen, obviously, kitchen and bathroom, and it gets oppressively hot. I live essentially in a pizza oven. Oh. So every year, right when we see consecutive days of 90-degree heat, I have to bring the air conditioning units, the window units that we put in the bedrooms from the basement upstairs into the windows, and it's a horrible job. Those things are super heavy, and I feel like they're a risk because they kind of teeter in the windows. So anybody who is walking near my house should never come under the windows because they're not secure. They're not secure or safe in any way. I did buy this year, they're going to get delivered from Amazon today, momentarily, some shelves that said they were no drill shelves that these units could sit on top of. So stay tuned. But this will be a project that I don't know what I would pay, but I would definitely pay someone to do it if I could. I just don't know who that would be. And by the time I found them and they came, I would have been like, you should have just done it yourself.
So is this like a shelf that would go on the outside of your house to hold
the... Yeah, it's like a bracket. So a piece goes in the windowsill to like lock it into place, and then it's a bracket that comes down snug against the side of the wall, and then it creates an extension support for the teetering window unit.
Got it. That sounds good. You know what? I just mounted a fake woodpecker to the side of my house.
Oh, to scare off the real woodpeckers?
Yes. I looked far and wide. I am having a war with a woodpecker. It's putting holes in the side of my house. So I dangled out of a bedroom window on the second floor to mount this fake bird. And then a storm happened, and it's like sideways. It looks kind of drunk, but it's still up there.
Oh, well, did the woodpecker come back?
I don't think so.
Because I've seen people use those tinfoil-y, like decorations that I guess woodpeckers don't like.
But then it starts looking like Mardi Gras all over your bushes and...
Yeah.
You know, I've always been a dog person. I used to go on dog walks and wonder why so many people had such odd taste in like putting shiny ball ornaments in their front yard and owls everywhere. Now I get it. There's a reason for all of that.
And I feel like the woodpeckers, they really like to drill very early in the morning. So yes. It's not a convenient time. We have a cardinal, and he starts, we're calling him Chucky. I don't know, it just stuck. But Chucky starts to sing at 4:36 every morning. Like it is his job. And it's as if he's on our windowsill, like it's as if he is inside the bedroom. Even with the fan, we have a fan and we have a noisemaker, and still you can hear Chucky through all of it. And I feel like the woodpeckers, they're early to rise too.
Yeah. Got to keep an eye on that. Oh, you know what? We have a lot of squirrels too. Something I really want to do myself is get raised garden beds to have like plant vegetables in. That's one of mine that I really want to do. And a big part of it is I want to plant vegetables or grow vegetables. And there's so much wildlife in my backyard, which you would think like, oh, that's so nice. No,
No,
they're
they're going to
bitches.
eat it all. They're going to wait until it's almost perfectly ripe, and then they're going to eat it all.
And then I will be mad. And I will have wasted time, and I am not willing to do that. Just the other day, my dog ran out, was chasing, he almost got a squirrel. The squirrel went into the top of the tree, which is very, very high, probably 3-4 stories high. And I have never seen this before. The squirrel fell out of the tree. I thought like a branch was going to fall down. This fucker bounced at the bottom. And then he kind of like shook his head like a Disney movie and like jumped back on this tree.
I've had that happen where we were walking on a sidewalk and the squirrel fell like right in front of my son's feet when he was a toddler and we were living in the city.
Yeah.
And to the exact same experience where he was stunned and I thought for sure he was dead, and then he just like staggered off and seemed apparently fine.
The squirrels in the city are pretty savage. They're usually like missing some fur patches and occasionally an eye.
Hey, do you think they're like electrocuted? That's how they miss those fur patches? I mean, they must because they're crawling on the wires.
Well, I think there's a lot of fighting in dumpsters.
Oh, dumpster fighting.
Yeah.
I think you should do a documentary on that. Squirrel dumpster fighting. I'll watch it on Netflix.
It reminds me of a couple guys I used to date. Dumpster. Oh, and I also really wanted epoxy my garage floor. And I feel like that's going to be a mistake.
Okay, I have actually thought about this one because I want to do my basement. My basement is unfinished. It's where the washer and dryer are and the utility sink that I bathe the dog in. So I bring Sola to the forest, she gets super muddy, or I bring her to the beach, she's super sandy, and then she jumps into the utility sink in the basement so I can wash her. So I'm down there obviously all the time between laundry and then laundering the dog. It's gross. And I want to bring someone in to do that really nice epoxy glossed finish and have it go maybe halfway up the unfinished walls. So it just kind of wraps that space. It doesn't need to be the whole walls, but I want it to just wrap that space in clean. But I should probably not do, I was imagining like a light gray, but I'm thinking now out loud it should probably be a dark color so it just doesn't show anything. So maybe just black. I don't know. What color would you epoxy? I don't think that's something that you should be doing yourself.
I probably won't.
It's so toxic.
I have someone over for a consultation, and I'm sure they would do an amazing job, but it was so expensive that I was like, I don't think so.
What was it for out of curiosity?
I think 3-car garage, it would be like $3,000 to $4,000, depending on which, like what colors, like whether you want flex in it or if you want, like I've seen so many where they're beautiful. Just so you know, if you look up on Pinterest, like the epoxy flooring, some of them look like swirls. Like there's different colors in them. And so they look almost like a geode or something. It's so pretty.
Trippy.
Yeah.
Not something to do yourself and maybe not something to do. So this is another thing. Do you feel guilty when you hire someone to do something and it's a bad job? How much guilt do you feel? Like we had a situation. I was in New York for work. It was during the summer. I came back late and I stepped out of the Uber and this smell smacked me in the face. Like it was the worst smell I had ever smelled in my entire life. And I came into the house and Shane was already asleep. The house was asleep and I woke him up and I was like, what is happening? And he goes, I think something's dead underneath the deck. And I'm like, for sure something is dead underneath the deck, but how long has it smelled like this? And he's like, all week, don't open the windows. And I'm like, this is your solution? Don't open the windows? I had to hire someone to come and take care of it. And I watched with a friend. It was an awful moment, but I watched with a friend as they took apart some of the boards of the deck and then they scooped out this possum soup. Like it was a decaying, huge possum that was disintegrating in shovelfuls into a trash bag. And it was so horrendous. And then they poured like an entire bottle of lime to try to eat away at whatever they couldn't dig out of that. But honestly, what is the right price to charge or pay someone to do this horrible, horrible job? I mean, this was a landscaper who we knew, who's the nicest man in the entire world, and he would have said yes to helping me do anything, and this was just an awful job.
What would I pay somebody for that?
Yes.
I don't know.
Listen, the whole thing took, we can't go based on time.
Right.
Because the whole thing took less than 15 minutes.
$100.
But it was awful. Like, awful.
$100.
I remember just like throwing cash at him, and then he tried to return some of the cash, and I was like, no, you have to take all of this money. This is so bad.
And to pay a therapist.
Totally. Like, you're gonna have to burn those clothes. You're gonna have to, like, the smell was so bad, you want to like trim your nose hairs really short just in case there's residual smell that's stuck on those hairs.
Yeah. Oh. I feel like I can see it the way you just described it. I have seen a decaying animal before. That is no joke. Last thing, I want to plant lasagna gardening pots. Are you familiar with this term?
No.
So lasagna gardening is where you plant bulbs in different tiers, almost like the layers of a lasagna that you're putting together, so that there's always something blooming all year round.
It sounds like an awesome idea. Some of them don't play well together, right? Like you can't, like, I know in a vase, I think tulips and daffodils can't go together, but I've seen them growing together, so that must work. It's just that they can't be in a vase together.
Well, you know the concept of thriller, filler, and spillers for a pot,
I don't
like
know
the ones
about flower design.
So the thriller would be something tall in the middle or in the back, depending if you're putting a pot like against a wall, and something tall, like a canna or something. So and then fillers would be things that don't grow too tall, but they're kind of wide, and then a spiller would be some sort of ivy or something that'll spill over the edge.
Oh, I love that. So
Yeah.
you would do it, and if it's bulbs, they'll keep coming back.
Yeah.
So you only have to make the lasagna once.
Yes.
I love this.
And then chase away any squirrels that try to get to your pot.
I do have a favorite squirrel in my neighborhood. I don't know who's responsible, but a couple years ago, we had a neighbor who was planting these very special tulips. They grow like twice as long as a normal tulip, and they're this extremely vibrant yellow. So somehow this person probably had these tulip bulbs flown in from Holland, and they're a very specialized tulip. And a squirrel, there's the only one explanation, which is a squirrel dug up one of those bulbs and buried it in my front yard, right next to our entryway. So every year now, for the last 4 years, we've had this one beautiful tulip that comes out of nowhere from what the squirrel had stolen. And everybody in the neighborhood has to know that that was like a stolen bulb, because nobody else has those same tulips except for us, who got a little gift. And I feel like it was the Robin Hood of squirrels, like just a redistribution of wealth. have a beautiful tulip.
That is so nice. He was probably like took it and was gonna have a little feast and was like, I don't like how it tastes very much. Let me put it in Buddy's yard.
I know, and there it
Second
is
best.
every year.
That's so funny. So good.
It's 3 blocks away.
Wow.
To carry that ball for a while. It's not just next door. Like it was a real redistribution.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we are running out of time. Buddy, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
It was super fun, and in the future you can be really honest about the quality of my do-it-yourself hair. And you can start to hide the product that you're using, because you know that I'm looking.
I'm going to play jokes on you. I'm going to get some, like,
Oh my God. You're going to be like, you're going to say, I'm going to use a 9.3 on you today. And I'll be like, okay, I'm going to buy the 9.3.
I'm going to get my hair color and put it in like a box of Just for Men. See if you notice.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Well,
Amazing.
I know we're going to totally want you back on the podcast. Demetra was pretty bummed that she couldn't make it. So next time we have a topic that we need some good buddy input on, we'll be letting you know.
Super fun. Can't wait to see you. Because I'm going lighter, I'm going to see you more frequently. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe or follow. And please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Lastly, follow us on social media for clips of past and future episodes. All our accounts are listed in the show notes below. Thanks so much for listening.